Spoilers ahead in 3, 2, 1. What I think about Invincible Season 4. Alright, so emotions. This season was very emotional. I mean, a lot of the stuff that Mark had to deal with, him leaving planet Earth, leaving his mom behind, the love of his life behind, right? And all the persons who he cared for, friends, well-wishers, even Cecil and his organization and all the heroes and so on, who he has a sort of estranged relationship with. The stuff Mark had to go through in terms of him having to come back and deal with Eve aborting her child while he was throwing blows with conquests and all these big characters, villains of the series. And, it was a lot for him to deal with. I liked how they Spider-Manized Invincible, for lack of a better term. Because everybody who follow comics knows Spider-Man always saving New York, saving the world. And then behind the scenes, Peter Parker would have to pay bills, he has girlfriend problems, just like everybody else then. It wasn't like DC, where DC has this, Superman, Batman, one is a billionaire, one came from Krypton and is an alien who's almost invincible, pun intended. Aquaman, who's the king of Atlantis, and Wonder Woman, who is the daughter of a goddess, and whatever. So I liked how they how they really grounded Invincible. In terms of the action, yes, it was action-packed. Definitely action-packed. Him fighting Thragg, fighting Conquest. He fought... Let me get my notes there. He fought Tula, he fought Lucan, General Craig, Dinosaurus, the Squids, plus Ross Livingston, right? All of them, all those villains throughout the season made the thing really interesting. Right? Definitely action-packed. Controversial episode. Obviously, the episode with Satan, and I know a lot of people didn't really receive and didn't really like that episode. I believe the episode was a filler. I got to understand it was a filler. It wasn't really part of the Invincible comic run. How they kind of try to make Satan look like a hero in the eyes of the masses, and that kind of distortion, kind of upside down, in out, to try to paint Satan as a savior with a cape. Well, a lot of people didn't really like that. It kind of gave me a little bit of Sabrina Chilling Adventures. If you all didn't know about that series, you can check it out on Netflix. 4 seasons, but warning, it is not a series for everyone. It's very blasphemous. But if you are a person believing storytelling and you don't really, and your mind is open, yeah, check it out. Everybody else, well, it's up to you. Anyhow, moving on. The voice acting was top-notch in this series. Voice acting by none other than Lee Pace, who voiced Thragg. I felt his emotions when he voiced Thragg, like he was passionate about the Viltrumite survival and, fighting Nolan and the other heroes. Even though that is the same Thragg that created Viltrumite purge and and lessen down the population, but that is a story for another time. But nevertheless, the pace was on point. I really felt his. Also, Thaddeus, voiced by Peter Cullen, a.k.a. Optimus Prime. right? The voice acting was on another level, so it really was commendable. Universe building, I liked how they more or less like showed what the Viltrumites did in the past and how they conquered, which was kind of sad too. It kind of nearly brought some tears to my eyes, like how they conquered different planets and left many civilizations to die and that kind of thing in their wake. And then also the flashbacks with how with the scourge virus and what took place back then and that kind of thing. Right? Viltrumite backstory, which I just mentioned, the scourge virus, Thragg doing committing the purge after Argal and Argal's skull, right? Was in his after that atrocity was committed, Thragg had decided to execute the purge, purging all the weak from the strong, including the Viltrumite backstory. It really gave you insight into just how devious and just how sadistic the Viltrumite civilization is. Right? Even their children would purge out each other, which is crazy. Right? So, the backstory of that, find out Thaddeus was the creator behind the virus and everything that took place back then and so on, and then coming full circle was interesting. Overall, my thoughts on the finale and about season 5, I think it was well executed. I was okay if like how the finale didn't really have much action. I was okay with that because I believe the rest of the season, all the action, it made up for it. So I like the ultimatum that Thragg gave Mark, which is that is either if you agree, is that you're leaving the Viltrumites to stay on Earth to interbreed and rebuild their numbers, or if it is you disagree, then billions of lives will be lost. And if I was Mark, I would have made the same decision, without even questioning. And in life sometimes you have to play the long game and not the short one. Right? So sometimes it's not always the situation you want, but it's the best call at the point in time, right? To save lives, right? Which is the most important thing. Right? So the finale was really well done, well executed. Lee Pace again with his voice acting top notch. I'm excited for season 5 to see, a lot of loose ends, a lot of lingering threats. There's the threat obviously of the Viltrumites. There's Titan and his crew of criminals who would be plotting to take down Mark and so on. There would be I don't really want to get into kind of more or less know how Invincible ends well. And other threats out there, so I don't really want to give away too much for those who not sure about just how many threats are there going forward in the story. So that's my take. Still haven't in my channel yet, people, but stay tuned for more reviews. Look forward to getting your feedback. This is my first review. Love you all. Take care.